Good morning. For today's practice, we are focusing on hips and heart. So focusing on these two anatomical regions in the body and building up towards a pose that gets a kind of a stretch into this area, known as camel pose, but we will offer, we'll have lots of variations. So to start out, we're going to massage the upper back. So you can grab your balls, you can put them in a toad or in a sock, and you're coming to your wall. And if you have two balls, you can have the ball in the vertical axis. I'm going to move back here so I'm still in the camera. And then you're rolling side to side. And when you roll side to side, you want to shift through your feet to do it rather than, trying to move from your upper body. Okay, so shift from one foot to the other so that you're not tensing up at all in your upper body. And so we want to get the whole territory from middle back, and you can let it go up higher, but just that full area from this middle back up into your upper back. Good. And you can also, when it goes out to the side, you can even like turn so you get some of your side body. So you can do like a little funny dance at the wall. Good. And then we are going to transition the self-massage to focus on the front of the shoulders as well. So you can take one wall out. This one you can use the wall, or you can also do it manually. I'm gonna just show you manually, and then I'll tell you what the wall looks like. So you're going to place one ball underneath your collarbone, yeah? And you're pressing in to, just to press and feel that tissue there. So we're massaging subclavius and pecs. If you're using the wall, you take a block and you put the block against the wall, and then you lean in so that you don't have to use your hands, and then it's all your body weight. Okay, so wherever you are, you're going to start to roll the balls either with your hand like this underneath your collarbone side to side, or if you're at the wall, you're leaning a block into the wall and the ball into the block, and you're moving from your feet to roll the ball like this, okay? Side to side underneath your collarbone. I'm doing no pressure just so that you can see. If you're doing it manually, you can press more so that you can get the desired amount of pressure. And then make a circle towards the far end of your collarbone. So right in all those attachments of your pec minor, pec major up towards your shoulder. Okay. And then if you're doing the wall method, it's nice because you can move this arm. So you can move the arm in various ranges to massage that spot too. And if you're doing the manual method, I guess you could still move the arm. Okay, good. And then last piece is just stay. And I like this positioning where I'm taking the hand to the low back, and so it stretches. There's internal rotation, and it stretches that space. And you can just breathe into that, or you can reach the arm further out. Good. And then we'll switch sides. So you can go under your collarbone on your second side. I'm going to go to the wall and do the second side of the wall. So it would look like this, and then you would lean in. Okay. And since I'm working on my right side, I'm going to hold the block. If I need to hold the block, I'll hold it with my other hand. And to roll across, we want to shift weight through the feet more than moving from the neck and the head. because we don't want to strain there. You can choose to just pin and breathe into that spot too. And you can choose to move the arm if you're at the wall. So swinging the arm out, swinging the arm to your back, swinging the arm across your belly. And then the one that is more intense is wiping the wall with your hand. And you could reach up higher as well. Okay. And then you could rest the hand on your low back and just press in, breathe. It's a great spot to rub out if you notice tension in the upper body, and if you notice that you tend to be like a chest breather, you're lifting your collarbones a lot as you take your inhale, you can rub out this area to release that tension there. Okay. And then last spot, I call this circles around the heart. So you're just doing it manually with your hands, and you're just rubbing around your sternum. And then explore the seam where your ribs attach to the side of your sternum. It might be surprisingly tender there. And you might notice as you do that, that the breath starts to evolve, the breath starts to soften. Good. So, and then massage the other seam where your ribs attach to the other side of your sternum. Yeah, and then you could just explore. You know, there might be a spot that you're feeling. So just explore, just softly rolling around, releasing, tensioning in the pecs, all around in the front of the chest, the heart space. Good. And when you're ready, you can release and just take a stand and just notice how you're feeling right now after releasing some tension through the upper body. Notice how your heart space feels after that massage through those superficial layers there. And then see if you can feel the quality of the ground underneath you as well. Your feet on your floor, on the earth. Good. And when you connect to these two resources, the resource of your heart, of your feet, what does that feel like in your nervous system? Okay. And we're going to start to mobilize this middle back area. So you can have knees soft and palms up, elbows bent, and just explore pulling your elbows back and allow your spine to move along with that extension. And then pretend like you're starting a dive and you're allowing your upper body to round. Feel your belly hollow in to support you. So no hip bending yet, just upper back. And then pull and watch your elbows move back, and just notice how your middle back moves with your arms. And then start another dive. And you can choose to flex a little lower, but keep the hip from bending still, so that you're still just isolating movement in upper back. Okay. And you can choose to inhale on the dive so that you can stretch through the back of your breath more. Exhale and rise to allow the abdominal core to support you in extension. And then add in hip flexion, letting your hip hinge, and rise. And keep going for a few more rounds, just to Start to loosen up the back body, the spine. You can choose to go a little bit off center. You can vary your pace. The tendency on the up is we tend to do this, and then we start to strain the neck. So before you lift your neck and your head, can you pull your elbows and feel your middle back extend? And then that will carry your neck and your head up. Okay. Good. Next time when you rise up, we're going to make our way down towards the mat through the squat or stand, squat, and kneel. So you want to position yourself on your mat for that descent down. And you want to grab the blocks. We'll use them later in the sequence. You can even use the blocks through this sequence as well if you want to have the support of the blocks. Okay. So we're starting in the stand again. And now we're hinging with the hips back, hips, knees bending. We find our squat, whatever it looks like. And then to come down, you can stretch your back, kind of like a mini down dog. You can hold on to your bricks, and then you shift. This is where you have core stability, and you slowly lower the knees. Okay, if you need support for your knees to do this, you could just get your bolster, get your pillows, and just prop it up higher so that it works for your body. And your hand support could be a chair, so adjust for your body. Okay, the higher it is, less load to come down. To come up, you can round your spine, push, land your heels down by lifting your hips higher, come back to your squat, and rise. Okay, so we just break it down into little chunks so that we're loading our joints at the right amount for our body. Okay, so hip hinge, squat, stretch your back out, shift your weight forward, core support, quad support, lowering down. You can rise up, round, push, and rise. Okay, a few more of these this drill to get up and down, and then modify as you need to support your knees. We're gonna come down, last one, and we're in that kneel, and then from here you can slowly swivel your feet out to your left side, and then you can take your hands down if you need less load and just sit down, behind your feet, basically. Okay. And we're coming into a deer pose on knees to the right side. Okay. From here, since we're working towards Ustrasana, there's a back bend, we want to loosen up the spine. So you're going to explore turning over to the right side. You can have your right hand down, left hand on your right shoulder, and just explore turning to the right, turning back to the left. Okay. So you can inhale to the right, exhale to the left, and just let your hips move naturally. So there's going to be a natural motion for this back hip to rise, and it will drop back down again. Okay, and then just feeling the rotation that you have in your middle back right now as well. No force. And then next time when you come back where your hips are as level as they can be right now, stay there and add in a side bend and a side bend to the other side. So explore. Getting spinal movement in all the various ranges. You can go nice and slow with your breath and vary your side bend angle so that you're stretching front side of your side body, back side of your side body. Good. And next time when you come over towards the right side, we're going to focus on the hips here. So you can come down, your choice. You can come all the way down, cradling your head. You can prop yourself up on your shoulder. We're going to lift the top leg here, and you're exploring first lining up your torso, so ear, shoulder, hip in a straight line. And then we're hovering the top leg so that everything's working to carry this leg. Explore lifting the thigh towards you without tucking your back, without rounding. And explore swinging the leg back behind you without overarching. And continue this open range hip motion. So moving back, moving forward, finding your natural range and stability this morning. Good. So about 10 rounds forward and back, finding your extension and your flexion. Next time when the leg is forward, you can start to lift it away from the floor and notice how different muscles are engaged here. It's going to be on those outer hips, and then squeeze your leg down in front of you, touch the floor, and squeeze it so that you feel your inner thighs engage. Okay, lift and squeeze, lift and squeeze. Good. And do a couple more rounds. You'll probably notice a lot of work on that outer hip. Good. And lengthen the leg, line it up with your body. Turn out and turn in. And as you find those external rotators, can you sense the synchronicity or the synchronization? So it's like when I turn out more, I feel how my belly has to stabilize more so that I can have that turnout. So notice that natural core engagement. Okay, and then make some circles with this hip, using all the ranges that you explored. Go in the other direction. And then the last piece here is you can try to hold on to the ankle and lengthen this back. So this is, you could even hold on to the inside of that ankle, okay? And so this is a movement that we get to in that camel, but here we're doing it in a different range or a different load. Okay, good. And then release and come on up to your sit. You can choose to, do a little windshield wipe, side to side. Okay, and then we'll come to the deer on the second side, and we'll find that spinal rotation first to loosen up the middle back. So you can hold on to your shoulder and just follow your rotation over to your left side. Follow your rotation back to your right side. And noticing how, how the rotation is happening in that middle back, how that middle back is feeling towards the second side. Good. Next time when you come back towards the hips as level as they can be, and then explore lateral bends here through your back, through your spine. You can inhale, maybe at this point. You can exhale and find your side bend. It's because the hips are uneven, it's going to be obviously easier to side bend towards where the knees are pointing, maybe a little harder back to the other side. Change your load as you need to. Sometimes if the back is a little persnickety, arm straight can increase load. Bending the arms can decrease the load. So adjust your arm positioning, length. Okay. And then we'll slowly come down onto this side. You support your head, your shoulder, however you need to. And once you get down, you want to line up ear, shoulder, and hip. So we want to have the torso basically in Tadasana. And the tendency is obviously the head will go forward because we want to see what we're doing. Okay. And lift that top leg just only as high as the hip socket, which is right here, not out here. Okay. And then as you pull your leg forward, see if you can lengthen your sit bone back so that the hamstring isn't pulling the pelvis into a tucked position. And then explore swinging the leg back without overarching or compressing your low back. And keep finding your range with extension, flexion this morning. It might be very different from yesterday or last week. And just being curious and kind with your body. So using all of this as a conversation with your body, okay, rather than an imposition. Okay, so about 10 rounds. Just enough to feel maybe a little tired. And then hover the leg again and find your abduction, which is lifting the leg away from the center. And then find your adduction, which is those muscles that help your leg cross the center. And lift and squeeze. You can play with the loading, so the knee bent obviously is going to be less load. You could play around like, oh, this is, I can challenge myself by stretching the leg a little higher or a little straighter, and that changes the load. And make sure you're not dropping the top hip back behind the bottom one as you lift up. Okay. When you're ready, we can lengthen this leg and we want to line up all the joints. So we're in Tadasana. Turn the leg out from your hip, not from your ankle. Turn the leg in from your hip socket. And notice how your brain starts to isolate and map those different ranges in your hip socket. So it starts to find those muscles and fine tune all the different fibers that move your hip in all these different ways. And then bend that knee and make your hip circle where you're combining everything together. Now we don't need to do a lot because we're probably a little tired already. Go in the other direction. So maybe just 3. And then last piece here today is we're going to try to touch the hand to that ankle. You can hold the outside, you can hold the inside, and you're just kind of stretching your quad back and a little shoulder stretch as well. Breathe into here. Now you can release and stagger those legs, come up. Okay. And we'll transition now into all fours. All right, so your choice with loading on the hands. You can have hands just straight on your mat, or you can use your brick. Okay, it's nice on the wrist. It's going to make the knee part a little harder. I'll show you. We usually do squat, dog to plank. Today we're going to do a downward dog into a hovering cat. So it starts to, it works the core slightly differently. Okay, so from here we're lifting up into our first downward dog. And you can, express your dog. You can make little movements, walk your dog, rotate the neck. And then when you're ready, we're going to come back to stillness, neutral neck, and explore lifting your heels and just bending your knees a little. You can start small first, and then straighten your legs. Shift forward, bend your knees maybe a little more, just to explore how this is feeling in your quads, and extend. Okay, you can stay there. So this could be the amount of load that you want to carry. Okay, you can also come forward and hover an inch, and so you want to look forward, hover. You can also choose to lower all the way down. Okay, so we've got 3 different variations. Okay, so this is gonna be our little drill where we move up, we come down either this much, or all the way down into our cow, and then we lift back up. Okay, so you find your variation. We'll sneak up in the downward dog, and you can step your left foot in a little bit more and lift your right leg up, and then pull the knee forward, draw it towards your nose, shift your weight forward, round your spine, take a breath here, and then step that right foot forward. Let your spine extend, and we'll lower that back knee down. Depending on your floor, you can also pad your knee, or you can relax your back toes down, or you can curl them, your choice. Okay. From here, we'll rise up, and this variation is W arms. So we'll pull and get a little heart opener, and then we'll reach up and we'll pull down. So explore your back bend, and it's a little bit of a balance as well. when you reach up, neutral neck, and then exhale, forward fold, and you can stretch the front leg. And check the ankle, make sure you haven't twisted the ankle in any way here. And then shift forward, bend that front knee, hands to your blocks or to the floor. You can curl your back toes under and then lift back into your downward dog. And then again, the sequence is either all the way down into a cow, all the way back up into a dog, or you're hovering the knees in the cow, or you're just bending the knees as much as you can. Okay, your variation. And we'll come back to dog. We're going to lift the left leg and slowly knee to nose, round your spine. This is the core work. Hover for a breath here. And then step slowly and lower that back knee down. Take your time, your choice. Curls, toes can be curled or relaxed down. And we find our little back bend practice here in the W arms. And sometimes if I don't feel stable here, it could be because my foot and my knee are in a straight line and it's really hard to balance. So I might have to step my foot a little bit, my left foot out to the left more to be more stable. So I noticed as I was doing this back bend, this felt good. And then when I reached up, I was kind of doing something weird like this. So I have to find, as I'm reaching, maybe I have to widen my arms so that my neck stays neutral. And then this is where there's that back bend and the neck might extend. And then when I'm opening, it actually feels better to have wider arms. So you can explore that width of your V. Good. Next time when you reach up, neutral neck, forward fold, and you can lengthen that front leg. Good. We'll slowly bend that knee, curl the back toes under, and lift back, downward dog. Good. You can do that sequence that we're doing today, the cow, the dog. You can come to squat dog, plank instead. You can come down and do cat-cow. So your choice of some kind of flexion, extension movement through your spine. And you have lots of variations. Okay. And then we come back to dog. And we're going to lift that right leg. And we'll step. And this time it's easier because we didn't break it down. And then drop your back heel down, turn your back toes out so that you have your back foot on the floor. Okay, we're going to rise up towards a warrior one. We want the 2 feet on right side, left side, not on the same line. And then we're focusing on the back bends again. So you can come into the wing and prayer. So here in the wing, the elbow maybe is a little lower. And just noticing your extension here. Just moving in a natural range. You can let that front knee bend a little bit more. So explore how deeply you can bend that knee, how much you can take the elbows back, and root through your back foot to stabilize as well. And then your choice, you pick your extension. You could stay here. You could take your hands behind your back and you could add in that, clasped hands position. You can take this version as well with your neck supported in a back bend. Okay, so lots of versions. Take another breath here. And then release if you have the hands clasped. Release, take a forward fold. And then swivel your back foot so the toes face forward, the heel is up. Step back. Listen to your body. Do you want to rest? Do you want to cycle again through either cat-cow, squat dog to plank? So 5 rounds, 5 breaths, whichever variation you're choosing to do. Good. And then come back to dog. Second side of that warrior one. So you can migrate that left leg up. Step forward, nice and slow. Let your spine round. Step. Drop the back heel. Turn the back toes. Make sure your feet are not on the same line so that it's easier to balance. And then rise up. And explore. Wing and prayer. And that usually in classical yoga sequencing, this is the inhale and this is the exhale. Your body is adaptable, so you can also switch it up and explore inhaling here and exhaling on the extension so that your abdominal wall will more likely draw in. So in that extension, that could actually be really helpful for protecting the low back when the belly draws in with extension. Good. And then you pick the position you want to be static in. Could be here, could be with that neck support, a little more lean back with the neck. Could be adding in the stretch on the shoulder. Okay, so what supports you best? What allows your breath to flow more easily here, to feel grounded? Feeling that connection from heart to feet again. And then if you're in, any extension or reach, come back to the wing and find your forward fold. And we'll step back, downward dog. Take a stillness here and just feel 3 breaths. And then when you're ready, shift and slowly lower your knees down. Okay. So if this doesn't work to be on your knees and kneeling, you can create a similar movement just sitting cross-legged. It's, obviously the load is going to be a little bit different, but you can still do similar action with the arms. Okay. So we're going to do an asymmetrical camel version, and option is to have the block on the high setting by your feet so that you can touch the block instead of your feet. So my toes are curled under and my knees are as wide as my hip sockets. Okay. So From here, I'm gonna mirror, so you can put your left hand on your hip, and we're gonna move the right arm first. So we're just lifting that arm and then just turning out to the side, just comfortable amount for us. And then we're going back across and reaching the opposite way, allowing the spine to round. And then opening up, so if there's restriction, bend your elbows, rotate, and then maybe stretch your elbows, okay? And then cross over. Can you feel your obliques work here as you flex? And then reach back, find that extension, and then maybe you're gonna go towards that block, and you can reach that block, and you cross. Okay, reach, and maybe tap the block. So that middle back is twisting. Play around with your shoulder positioning, could be wider, maybe you're bending the elbows. Don't keep that arm rigid, because then it's going to, right, stiffen up the shoulder, it's going to limit the shoulder and limit the back. Okay, so eventually you can choose to put your hand on that block. You can choose to do this asymmetrical version. You can go down with your hand onto your heel, depending on, you know, your body. And so this is an asymmetrical version. You can keep your hand here to have less load, or you can lift up. Okay, and then for those of you who are more flexible, you could do the symmetrical version too. Okay, so your choice. Take another breath. And then we'll come out, and you can hip hinge, place your hands down, round your back, do 5 rounds of cat-cow, or, you know, spinal undulations. So not letting tension build through those reaches and that back bend. Good. And, you know, if you have to modify and you're not kneeling, you could just, right, explore a similar movement. Okay, so we're going to switch to the second side, and I'm going to try to do it with just sitting cross-legged. Okay, so you can do it in kneeling, which is more of the classical Ustrasana, and we're just exploring lifting this left arm, reaching back, and ooh, if we need to, we bend that elbow, and then we cross over. And if you're in kneeling, you can hold on to the other hip with the other hand. So obviously when we're sitting this way with the hip this way, right, it's going to be harder to get a bigger back bend. Another version, if you're sitting, if you're not kneeling, is you could have the legs forward like this. So finding those contralateral seams. Good. And then you pick. So if you're in that kneeling and you can reach the block and it feels good on your back, you could stay there. You could keep the other hand on your hip for less load. If your back feels warmed up, you could lift the opposite arm. Okay. If you're on the floor, I like this leg forward business. You could just do this, and you're getting a similar action in the heart area. And you can stay, breathe. Good. And then slowly, so the arm is up, lower that arm, slowly come out, and then counter pose it. Again, you can come back, cat-cow. So working out the kinks, if anything tensed up, okay? Flexion, extension, spinal undulation. then we will do this variation where we come down onto our elbows, and your elbows are parallel and your palms are wide. Pull and let your body shift forward. Push with your knuckles, not your wrists, and rise up. Round your spine, shift back, lower your elbows down, pull with your hands and move your body forward. So feel that work through those arms. And then round. So cat-cow variation, coming back to that middle of back, to that back bend. Good. And then next time when you're forward, come back to regular just table position or all fours position, and we'll lift that right arm out, and you're going to thread that needle, slide it underneath, come down onto your shoulder, onto your ear, so side of your head. Support yourself if you don't come all the way down. And you can push with your left arm to deepen the twist, and then with your right arm, push the entire back of the arm into the floor and pull that shoulder away from your ear. So it's instead of just having a passive stretch, we can be a little active with the shoulders and the arms. A variation that I like here is I like to step the left foot out to the side so that it can allow my neck to turn more. And so for some of us, that can feel like a nice lengthening in the neck as we rotate. Okay, take another breath here. This middle back twist. If the leg is out, go ahead and put that knee back down and then slowly come out. And then we come back to neutral. Yep. And little detail here is as you're here, you don't want to be sinking down like this on your shoulder. So hug the scapula in balance, and then lift that left arm, rotate, thread it under, and slowly lower shoulder, side of the head onto support, either the floor or your blankets. Okay. And then active with the arms. Press the entire back of your left arm into the floor. Pull that shoulder away from the ear. And then if you want to deepen the twist, you can push a little bit more with your right hand. You could stay with both knees down, or you can take the variation with stepping the right leg out to the side, and that can allow a little more rotation in the upper body. Good, and then slowly, if that leg is out, take it back, come on out, and just stretch back into your variation of child's. One version that I have been liking is arms wide or elbows out like this. I am noticing that it allows the breath to move a little bit more easily through the upper body. So landing here. Noticing the breath through the heart space, noticing the quality of the ground as well now. When you come back to this resource of your heart space, your connection to the ground. How does it feel? Good, and we'll slowly rise out and we'll make our way on our backs. Have one of your blocks handy. So we'll do a little love for the knees and the hips before we rest. So you can come all the way down. And from here, go ahead and parallel your feet, lift your hips up, and we'll elevate the sacrum so we get a little inversion, a little opening for the front of the hip. So you can put the block in the lowest setting with the length of it going across. If you're more flexible, you could do a higher setting, but we're going to get a little movement into the knees as well. So I think the lower setting will be more stable. When you're ready, you can hug your right thigh in. And we're just going to extend and bend that knee. And for now, just keep it neutral. So working out any tensioning through there. Next time when the foot is up, turn it out as well, and then turn it back and bend. As you extend, turn out as well, and then as you bend, come back to the center. So that's going to change the work. So externally rotate, internally rotate, bend. Okay. Next time when you have the external rotation, keep it there, bend the knee, land that outer ankle onto the other thigh, and then relax the knee out to the side. Flex your toes for more stability in this knee, and you can hang out here. For those of you who are, well, if you're type A, I don't really want to encourage it, but if you want a little bit of kind of more strength through the left hip, you could, as if, push down into that foot and pretend like you're trying to lift your hip off of the floor. Watch your pelvis as you push. Are you tucking your tail? Don't let your pelvis tuck, and just push with your pelvis neutral. And that could be enough work. You don't need to actually physically lift up. Okay, so you can just push down through that left foot and just notice how it turns on your core. Keep your pelvis in a happy tail. Okay, you could actually lift up as well. Okay, but it's not needed. Take another breath here. And release that push through that left foot, lower that right foot down, release the muscular action and just pause, heel. Good. And then we'll hug the left thigh in and explore, extending and bending. Neutral with the thigh first. And just feeling through the knee, moving in a range that feels good. Eventually, when you lift the foot up, turn the leg out as well. So that's when the thigh turns out, the toes point out. When you come back with a knee bend, turn it back to neutral. So adding in a little more movement diversity. And I forgot the strap, so for some of us this might feel like it's a little harder without the strap. You can hold on to your thigh. Good. Next time when you have to turn out, bend that knee and slowly lower the ankle onto the other thigh. So outer ankle bone on the middle of the lower thigh. Okay, and then migrate your right foot so that it is in line with your hip and your knee. Okay. Watch your pelvis, so make sure it's not in sad tail, because when it's in sad tail and we're pushing down into our right foot to as if we're lifting up, then if we're tucking, we're shortening all the muscles in our pelvic floor, and they are actually in their shortened position, so it's not optimal. So you want to keep your pelvis neutral and then root down through your right foot as if you're lifting up. And you might notice a toning through your whole belly, through your whole lower body. You can stay there and just do that work without actually lifting up, or you can lift up. Okay, but happy tail. And then lower down if you're up. Relax that left foot down. Listen to your body. Some of us might feel very comfortable here, and you're welcome to stay and rest here. If your body is like, I'd rather come down and let my back be completely neutral, you can come down and rest in regular corpse as well. Okay. I actually also like this positioning, this constructive rest. So wherever you are, if you can, place a hand on your heart again, and maybe a hand on your hips. And just feel the quality of your heart area, feel the quality of your feet on the ground and your hips and your legs. And just keep connecting to these two resources. So sometimes when there's a lot of uncertainty, the mind kind of gets caught in an anxious loop, and all it takes is just shifting our attention back into a part of ourselves that is more rooted, more stable. Allow your breath to become softer, smoother. Watch your body breathe for 3 more rounds here in your rest pose. And check in with yourself. So if you feel like you need to rest for a little bit longer, or sometimes you're feeling that relaxation finally setting in, you could choose to stay for a little longer. If you're ready to transition out, if you're still up on your block, go ahead and Remove the block. So step by step, wherever you're at, no rushing. And if you're coming up to a seat, find a seat that is comfortable, and also preferably one where your feet or you have contact with the ground. Yeah. And again, you can put a hand on your heart, a hand down on your thighs, your legs, the floor if you reach it. And just notice your whole system now. So there's an old model from an ancient text that we use a lot in yoga. So it's that 5-layer model: the layer of the body, the breath, the mental space, the emotional space, and then the most subtle layer is that you could say the spirit part of ourselves, the part that has no form, the awareness. But another kind of concept that I have been enjoying is also asking what my nervous system feels like. And to me, that quality of the nervous system includes all of it as well. And it includes kind of a electrical energy that we feel right in our spine, in our nervous system. Does your nervous system feel more grounded? Does it feel a little more at ease right now? Or has the practice in any way activated your nervous system? And is this resource of your hands on your body, how does that feel? How does that land? Okay. And we'll slowly join the hands together in the prayer mudra. And feel your breath through your heart space in this positioning now. And you can slowly bow the head to the heart. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.
Thank you, Angie.
It's my pleasure, Laura. Good to see you. I'm gonna turn off the other camera.